Let's take a look at scarcity and choice within the context of economics. This would be together characterized as the fundamental problem of economics. Let's take a look at our reading. We'll first examine the problem of scarcity. The term economics is derived from the ancient Greek expression oikonomon, which originally meant one who manages and administers all matters relating to a household. Over time, this expression evolved to mean one who is prudent in the use of resources. By extension, economics has come to refer to the careful management of society's scarce resources to avoid waste. Let's examine this idea more carefully. Human beings have very many needs and wants. Some of these are satisfied by physical objects, and others by non-physical activities. All the physical objects people need and want are called goods. Food, clothing, houses, books, computers, cars, televisions, refrigerators, and so on. The non-physical activities are called services. Education, healthcare, entertainment, travel, banking, insurance, and many more examples. The study of economics arises because people's needs and wants are unlimited or infinite. Whereas some individuals may be satisfied with the goods and services they have or can buy, most would prefer to have more. More and better computers, cars, educational services, transport services, housing, recreation, travel, and so on. The list is endless. Yet it is not possible for societies and the people within them to produce or buy all the things that they want. Why is this so? It is because there are not enough resources. Resources are the inputs used to produce goods and services wanted by people, and for this reason are also known as factors of production. They include things like human labor, machines and factories, and gifts of nature like agricultural land and metals inside the earth. Factors of production do not exist in unlimited abundance. They are scarce or limited and insufficient in relation to unlimited uses that people have for them. Scarcity is a very important concept in economics. It arises whenever there is not enough of something in relation to the need for it. For example, we could say that food is scarce in poor countries, or we could say that clean air is scarce in a polluted city. In economics, scarcity is especially important in describing a situation of insufficient factors of production. Because this in turn leads to insufficient goods and services. Defining scarcity, we can therefore say that scarcity is the situation in which available resources or factors of production are finite, whereas wants are infinite. There are not enough resources to produce everything that human beings need and want. Now let's read about why scarcity forces choices to be made. The conflict between unlimited wants and scarce resources has an important consequence. Since people cannot have everything they want, they must make choices. The classic example of a choice forced on society by resource scarcity is that of guns or butter. Or more realistically, the choice between producing defense goods, such as guns, weapons, and tanks, or food. More defense goods means less food, while more food means fewer defense goods. Societies must choose how much of each they want to have. Note that if there were no resource scarcity, a choice would not be necessary, since society could produce as much of each as was desired. But resource scarcity forces the society to make a choice between available alternatives. Economics is therefore a study of choices. The conflict between unlimited needs and wants and scarce resources has a second important consequence. Since resources are scarce, it is important to avoid waste in how they are used. If resources are not used effectively and are wasted, they will end up producing less, or they may end up producing goods and services that people do not really want or need. Economics must try to find how best to use scarce resources so that waste can be avoided. Defining economics, we can therefore say that economics is the study of choices leading to the best possible use of scarce resources in order to best satisfy unlimited human needs and wants. And as you can see from this definition of economics, economists study the world from a social perspective, with the objective of determining what is in society's best interest. Great, now let's take a look at our understanding, test our understanding, check for understanding. Let's answer question number 1 here. Can you think of some of your most important needs and wants and then explain whether these are satisfied by goods or services? Now, some examples of goods that I can think of personally. For me would be automobiles, appliances, and clothing. And some example of services in my life would include legal advice, house cleaning, consulting services. Great, let's move this over to number 1 space. And let's take a look at number 2. Outline why economics is a study of choices. Describe its relationship to scarcity. Outline how scarcity is related to the need to avoid waste in the use of resources. Great, let's go back to our reading here and we'll make just a few highlights. Number 1, we want to outline why economics is a study of choices. Let's go back to where we see the word choices. We'll highlight. The conflict between unlimited wants and scarce resources has an important consequence. Since people cannot have everything they want, they must make choices. Now let's describe its relationship to scarcity. Let's go back to the text and we'll find scarcity. Let's highlight. Scarcity. It arises whenever there is not enough of something in relation to the need of it, to the need for it. So we have a conflict here. We have unlimited wants, yet scarce resources. This creates a conflict in which people cannot have everything they want, so they must make choices. Outline how scarcity is related to the need to avoid waste in the use of resources. Let's go back to our reading paragraph here. We'll highlight in orange. Since resources are scarce, it is important to avoid waste in how they are used. Now let's bring the three together into our definition of economics. Economics is the study of choices leading to the best possible use of scarce resources in order to best satisfy unlimited human needs and wants. This is how we connect them all together. Number 3, explain why diamonds are far more expensive than water, even though diamonds are a luxury while water is a necessity without which we cannot live. And now we can connect this back to our concepts here. Diamonds are scarce. And that's why they're considered a luxury, because they're expensive in their scarcity. Whereas water, which is needed to survive, it's an existential need. Thankfully, at the moment, it's quite abundant. Now we can imagine what would happen if water itself became scarce. Well, it would become a lot more valuable to humanity, as we certainly need water to survive and not diamonds.